Hello, this is 96 News 24/7. I'm Harry Feber, and this is my partner, Joe Hess.
Today, we're discussing many hot topics relevant towards culture, politics, and our economy. First, we will be discussing the rise of suburbia through the borders of our American cities.
We will be sending it to Dwight Schrute for the crucial information surrounding this topic.
Sponsored by Prairie Farms Chocolate Milk.
Power up with milk. Hi, I'm Dwight Schrute. Breaking news. William Levitt revolutionizes homes in America. Fact. Levitt's idea is going to make it easier for people to own houses. His creation is suburbia, also called bedroom communities. Suburbia is housing outside the city. This was created for people to live around the city at a cheap cost and benefit. Home ownership has went up from 44% to 62% from 1940 to 1950. Fact. It will also take traffic from the city and move it to the suburbs. This is changing culture in the city. Communities are growing exponentially. The people of America will be much happier. More veterans will be leaving the street and finding homes that are warm and safe. Thank you. I'm Dwight Schrute, Assistant Regional Manager.
Thanks, Dwight. It seems as if suburban housing will be America's future.
Yeah, that Dwight guy also looks very similar. Anyways, in our next section of the 96 News 24/7, we will be discussing desegregation and oncoming popularity.
We are seeing this happening in schools and public areas all around the country. I'll be passing you to JP as he will be talking more about this topic.
Thank you.
Segregation has been a problem in our country for quite some time now, and the government is finally taking action to eliminate it once and for all. In recent news, the Supreme Court directs assault on plea separate but equal doctrine. The court has also officially declared segregation unconstitutional. In the Bro vs. Board case, a considered historic event, Bro wins, making segregation in schools no more. It will be a violation against the 14th Amendment. Schools in Mississippi have already started the desegregation process. This is one big improvement for our great country.
Thank you, John Paul, for showing us what desegregation is like in everyday American high schools.
Next on our program, we will be having Brett Taylor interview citizens surrounding the Truman Fair deal. Here is Brett now.
Thanks, Joe. President Truman has recently announced a new plan called the Truman Fair Deal. This recommends that all Americans have health insurance, the minimum wage increased, and basic equal rights for all American citizens. After this plan was announced, Congress raised the minimum wage but rejected national health insurance. I'm here with Robert. So, Robert, how do you feel about Congress accepting the minimum wage increase but rejecting the national health insurance?
Well, I think it's great that the minimum wage has increased, but I think that they should really reconsider national health insurance.
Well said. Thanks, Robert. Back to you, Harry.
Thank you, Brett, for informing us on the Truman Fair deal. In my opinion, I think this will help America in the long run a lot.
In our next segment, we'll be having Scott Snyder talking about our new generation known as the Beatniks. Scott, to you.
The Beat Generation. They wear cotton shirts with accessories such as barrettes and scarves. Males typically wear turtlenecks and striped shirts. Also, sometimes wear sweaters with no designs. Beatniks came into the form of a black-clad poetry reading set. Typically, urban literary intellects wrote and performed acts of spontaneous creativity with music. They encourage people to express individual beliefs and desires. A beatnik is a person who dresses in a way that is not socially acceptable and rejects norms and behavior. The beat movement is a literary movement that is becoming a social movement as well. It started in the late 40s and is continuing into the 50s.
Thanks, Scott. That was very informative of how beatniks formed, what they wear, and generally who they are.
This is a little off topic, but my son just got engaged.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. And the weather's going to be great for the wedding.
We'll send it over to the redhead for more information.
To add on to the desegregation laws, in 1951, the U.S. Army formally announced its plans to desegregate its army, in which it was previously separated by color. Public areas are making efforts to officially join colored and white areas such as restaurants, bathrooms, drinking fountains, etc. The United States is becoming more and more united through this process. Although racial tensions still occur to this day, advancements to everyone's lives, in schools to libraries, from buses to even our own army, are continuously being made. This is strongly due to the efforts of freedom fighters all throughout our nation. Thank you.
Go.
Hi, I'm Joey Hess, and today we're discussing mass television. Throughout the 40s, only a small wealthy population owned TVs. There had only been 178,000 televisions in homes in 1948. By 1955, 75% of American homes contained a TV. This is reaching 55 million TVs sold, as low as $200 per family. People want instant entertainment and mass media, and they don't want to go to the cinema and stay at home. Some TV programs you can watch are game shows, soap operas, talk shows, cartoons for the kids, and medical dramas, which spread across the 240 stations on a modern television. I recommend Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and Leave It Beaver. They provide an appealing plot and funny comedy. You know, TV is not only instant entertainment, but it is also the future of America, defining culture, individualism, and the importance of family, mainly to the middle-class suburban areas. This mainstream production of television will improve the American economy and improve the daily lives of American families. This has been Mass Television with Joey Hess.
Oh shit.
Go.
Hi, I'm Joey Hess. This is Scott Snyder, and we're with 96 News. Today we'll be discussing flip side and growing activism. Some people look back at the 1950s and think it was a wonderful time for everyone. In reality, there was problems with equality. Before the civil rights movement of the 1960s, the country was separated everywhere by color. Things like restaurants and drinking fountains were labeled white only or colored only. Most desegregation occurred in the 1960s. Even television shows stereotyped colored people and women. Lots of people thought this was horribly wrong and pushed for desegregation. The civil rights was reactively passed in 1964, and domestic violence was illegal and you would go to the court. People like J. Edgar Hoover targeted activists and tried to push his intimidating manner on them. He even tried this on Martin Luther King.
I hope these acts and segregated policies will change in the future. These things, like separating people by color, is horribly wrong and should never occur. To add, McCarthyism took place. During this time, trying to target communism during this time in our nation. Hundreds of thousands of people, commonly referred to as activists, used peaceful campaigning and protesting to bring about change in segregation and lots of other policies. Because of these people, our country is greatly improved. Thank you.
Ready, it's recording.
3, 2. Wow.